Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talking with Owen. I'm Owen,
What's up? I'm also Owen.
and today we're going to be discussing our top 10 progressive rock albums. Again, each of us did our own list. We didn't discuss these at all. Completely new information for both of us. And we're just going to break down top 10 in order. Start with 10, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about like some songs from each album and what makes these albums so special to us. Okay.
All right.
Should I start this
You
time?
can start off. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So let me see here. At number 10, I have Moving Pictures by Rush. Uh
Great pick. Good one.
um those who know me know Rush is not one of my favorite prog bands ever, but this album is undeniably good. I believe for me the first four songs on this album are a perfect four-song run. Uh
Yeah,
Tom Sawyer to
definitely.
Limelight.
Hmm.
Four perfect songs in my opinion. Uh I've played some of those songs as a musician and super fun to play and they're just amazing songs, I believe. Like all a lot of these couple of these prog bands are just like powerhouse trios and it's crazy that three guys can make the sound that Rush does. And
Hmm.
in my opinion, this is obviously their most popular album, but their most influential for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's all really, really good. I think that Red Barchetta is like really stands out to me as a guitarist. I had to learn that song for some shows in the past, and playing that part is super fun. A lot of different moving pieces in that song, but I feel like the main progression is like, it's not just like a prog part that like feels like cool because it's instrumental, but it's also just like a really nice melody, like the way he picks it and the way he chooses what notes are in it. It's like there's definitely some emotional value to it that I think is really cool and it stuck with me. And also Limelight is a great way to like make a prog song into like a radio hit. That song is like
Yeah,
super fun. Like, the melody,
yeah,
everything, like you can hear it in a
yeah,
movie, and anything. It fits really
yeah,
well. So I think it's a super good pick for that.
yeah. A couple of
But yeah, I definitely,
super high Geddy
yeah,
Lee vocal parts as well,
yeah. I mean,
for
he's
sure.
just great.
Yeah.
All right, at my 10, I went with "Songs from the Wood" by Jethro Tull. I'm a
Woo-hoo!
big
Nice
Jethro
one.
Tull guy. I'm really into just all of the albums that they've put out. I mean, there's some really famous stuff out there. There's some really less influential things that they put out, but I think that Songs from the Wood is one of their best, and I couldn't put it as high because there's some other Jethro Tull on here, but
Yeah,
I it's still one of my favorites, and I really like all the parts. There's like a extended edition that's on Apple Music, and all the songs in the bonus part of it too. I don't know if they really count, but those are also really cool tracks that are like
yeah,
cut and like demo editions and stuff. So I think those are really good
yeah,
too. So I think it's a really complete project and all the acoustic stuff going on, all like the strings and like odd instrumentation really like plays into the cool kind of like folkish melodies that are displayed throughout the whole album and I think that it's a really complete listening experience.
yeah. I have to be completely honest with you. Songs from the Wood did not make my top 10, and as you know, I'm as big a Songs from the Wood fan as any. But I believe like uh to me, it's not a perfect album as perfect as some other Jethro Tull albums are. Songs
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
Wood, the song is one of my favorite
Mhm.
songs ever, but
Definitely.
I unfortunately can't put the album as a whole in my top 10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Understand.
Um,
Understandable.
number two, I mean, sorry, number nine.
Right.
I got
Nine
An
reference.
Animals, Pink Floyd. Uh,
Nice.
this is my favorite Floyd. Like just this also has the reason I would pick this album over some other ones is obviously I'll get to talking about the music, but like the meaning behind the album too. The sheep, the
Of course, yeah.
the the pigs, the dogs and such. If you don't know about
Yeah.
that, go do some research. But this has probably like the deepest meaning out of any of the albums on here, and uh, every single one of these songs uh is meaningful to me as well. And I think the three-song run, dogs, pigs, sheep, is just like as good a three-song run as you have in Prague. Look, dude,
Um,
what, dude?
nothing. It was
And
just weird that my AirPods connected to the computer for a second, so I don't know if you got
yeah,
any weird news, but yeah.
uh, I gotta say, dogs is my favorite on
Well,
here.
yeah, I feel like that's pretty understandable.
Yeah,
I don't like,
just an epic and There's so many cool aspects. This Pink Floyd is a lot more like ethereal of a band, more so than a lot of these other prog rock bands. Uh, they get into some heavy stuff, but a lot of the magic of Pink Floyd is the space and the spaciness and like the ethereal kind of sound. And I think this album does this really well, from the Dogs guitar solos and synth solos to the whole like sheep intro that goes straight into the like rips into the vocal melody at the beginning. And yeah, I think it's just super cool album, and it all connects really well.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself right now for not putting Pink Floyd on this list. I kind of forgot because they slid between prog and rock and other genres and
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
it really depends. I do consider them as prog, though, especially Animals. Again, there's some really prog sections there, and
yeah,
I definitely think it would have been a list if I went back and thought about it. But we had to play Dogs live a few times, and
yeah.
it's a beast of a song to play.
Beast of a
Synth solo is
Song.
really crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think that those guitar solos are some of David Gilmour's best work. I think that he keeps it simple in a way that's like really beautiful in all of his solos. All the space between the notes, all the reverb he holds there, and like, the tension he plays with just playing one note that like will make you feel something is like really cool. I don't think a lot of other guitarists can get that out of their instrument.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna go on for too long because I could talk forever about Pink Floyd, but I completely agree. I think Animals would make my top 10 for sure if I went back and redid this.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I agree. It's kind of like a lot. There's a line between rock and prog, and I wouldn't say like Pink Floyd is one of the bands that like defines prog, because a lot of it is more classic rocky, but
mhm.
especially this album is more prog, and they are a prog band, so I just thought I would include them on the list because that's a great album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, my number nine pick. This is a band our friend Zeph put me on to a
Yeah.
long time ago. Big Prog fan. He was into Prog before I was into Prog, and he showed me a lot of music that really influenced my music taste. It is called Mirage by Camel.
Nice,
A
nice,
lot of
nice.
people are familiar with. He showed me this song Nimrodel, The Procession, and White Rider, and
Mhm.
hearing that for the first time was just like insane. Like this
Yeah.
is so cool. It feels kind of gritty. Like a lot of their music feels a lot more like interesting. Like they kind of you know borderline with King Crimson, where it feels like less ethereal in the way where it's like spacey and you're floating, but more ethereal in a way that it's like almost like I don't know, perking your ear up in a way that feels like mystical and also kind of like something a villain in a fairy tale would be listening to and
Yeah.
like the folk aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I think that even the band is called Camel, but I think that like it feels almost like you're walking through a desert with this album. It feels spacious. It's really cool. There's also a remastered version of the album that I've listened to a bunch, and there's a version of them playing songs that aren't even on the album at the
Mhm.
Marquee Club. And those
Yeah.
versions are super cool hearing them play it live because it's like they're really
Yeah.
tight and it's awesome. So I think it
Yeah.
was a really influential album for its time.
Yeah. I think Camel is one of the bands on here that we're talking about that received like the least recognition as a band,
Yeah,
like mainstream, but they have a really strong cult following for sure. And I am a
yeah,
big fan of that song, especially that you talked about in the album. So
yeah.
uh great stuff.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right. Number eight, I'm going with a favorite of mine, Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh
Uh
yeah. Great
this
pick.
uh album is depicts like what I would say is one of my favorite songs ever in Prague, which is Carnival 9. I mean, if I'm talking about all the impressions together, because it's four parts. First impression, part one, part two, and then the second impression. The two parts of the second impression, and
Yeah.
I think those songs like incorporate some of the greatest keyboard playing that I've ever heard by Keith Emerson, and
Yeah.
some of the coolest keyboard parts ever, from the organ solo on First Impression Part Two, which I've actually gotten to play before, had the honor of
Oh,
playing, and it's just like
exactly.
genius. And then the piano, the whole crazy, crazy, ripping fast piano part on the Second Impression. Um, I think it's just one of the coolest songs ever. And even the first half of the album, the four songs that come before that are super cool songs. Jerusalem has all the really cool like vocal parts and like all this organ stuff, and Toccata is a really cool instrumental. And then Still You Turn Me On, that's just a really pretty song. And I think it's not my favorite ELP, I'll say that. Uh, it probably is most people's favorite, but I think it's an amazing, amazing, amazing album. So yeah.
Yeah, agreed there. Not my favorite ELP, but I still love it. I think all the Carnival 9 impressions and parts are really cool. Definitely
Hmm.
not something I've had like, in rotation a lot, but I think that I really appreciate it. And I think that, hearing Keith Emerson play on any of the albums is really impressive. And this is where maybe he shines the most. All the
Yeah.
things he does in this album are incredible. And it like kind of another debate for another time is Rick Wakeman versus Keith Emerson, because that feels like
Yeah,
the
it's a big one, big one.
of
Yeah.
Prog keyboardists. So
Mhm.
really, close call there because they're both incredibly talented at different things and also in similar ways, and how they put their sound into their band and like define it is it really changes the whole atmosphere of both their bands. So I
Yeah.
think that he's really important to ELP. Obviously, he's kind of what makes it, and that's one of the biggest albums that he shines on.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm at my number 8, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I have Gentle Giant self-titled here.
Wow.
Um, Album I heard kind of late into listening to Prog. I'd heard of them a little bit, and it really just like kind of solidified how I feel about the genre. It's super cool. I think a lot of the ideas they get into are really unique. It's not as like intense or like riffy as other things, but it has some repeated patterns that are really cool throughout, and like stuff where the guitar will play a line and then the keys repeat it back, and it feels
Yeah.
really cool. The song Alucard is really great. The song Why
Yeah.
Not, and like there's even moments on it that feel like popular rock songs that would have fit at the time. So I think that it was sort of the beginning of a band venturing into prog music
Yeah.
that became more sophisticated as time went on. But I think the way they started in their simple roots
Yeah.
really launched the album for me, and I really love that album. Grew on me a
Yeah.
lot when I was younger, and was deeper into listening to prog.
Yeah, I gotta say one song from that album that I absolutely love is "Nothing at All," which I think just
Yeah.
really like defines like prog, and it has this whole like beautiful like acoustic guitar riff, quiet
Hmm.
intro with like the vocals and the acoustic, and then it goes into a whole Gentle Giant-esque like jam, which the main like one of the huge things they do is they have like one like the guitar's playing a riff, and then the keys are playing a riff, then the bass is playing the riff, and then guitar with a different tone. It's like each like the riff is just like trading between instruments.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the coolest things that they do, and that's a great album.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Um, Gary Green, their guitarist, had to fact check his name, but founding member throughout their whole career. He's great. I think all the riffs I can attribute to him for playing, and those riffs make the songs a lot of the time that are repeated throughout,
mhm.
but not overly complex, and it's still catchy and cool.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with my number seven, right? Yeah. My number seven
Yeah,
is Fragile. Yes. Uh, had to put this
nice.
on here. I know we've talked about this before, and I believe that this song has I mean this album has four songs that I just consider to be some of the greatest prog songs of all time. And those songs are Roundabout, South Side of the Sky,
Yeah,
Long Distance Runaround, and Heart of the Sunrise. Uh, I believe those are the four
yeah,
songs on the album that were like full group efforts, and I think they put everything into those songs, and every single one of them is like a magical song to me. Obviously, Roundabout has everything. It's the really popular one. Everybody knows it. Super catchy while still complex, and you get to hear a lot of the instruments shine. Chris Squire, Steve Howe in the beginning, the organ solo with Rick Wakeman later on. And then there's songs like South Side of the Sky. Long Distance Runaround has, the sick unison rip, great stuff. Heart of the Sunrise is
yeah,
another Chris Squire moment with Bill Bruford doing some really sick stuff on drums. Uh, this album is only not higher on
hmm
my list because I think it is not a perfect album, and I think it has some weak spots
yeah,
with some of the individual songs. I don't think as much as I love Rick Wakeman, I don't think the Cans and Brahms excerpts fit very well where they do in the song. Not a big fan of We Have Heaven. Sorry, Johnny Anderson. Not the biggest fan of that one.
yeah.
But
Not my favorite.
but overall the album is just amazing, undeniably so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that its weak spots are pretty weak for how great of a band Yes is, but its high spots are some of the highest Yes will get. So it definitely feels like a great album, despite some weakness throughout between the tracks.
Yeah.
All right, next up, I have an album that toes in the line of Prog with a musician that, has experimented in a million different ways, as many ways as you can experiment.
Mhm.
Really interesting guy. I love his music. It's One Size Fits All by Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
I think probably the most, cool, I guess, of his music, he has a lot of unique stuff on this album, and his band is great. George Duke is just incredible throughout. I mean, hearing his keyboard parts is just great.
Yeah.
Um, the stuff Frank Zappa does on guitar is never anything groundbreaking to me. I think that, what was great about him was the musicians he surrounded himself with and his compositions. And I think that that
Yeah.
really shows the compositions are beautiful. But the stuff he does on guitar is really cool too. I mean, listening to stuff like Andy and the guitar harmonies there, or even, Inca Roads is like the famous,
Yeah.
crazy kind of prog track off that album that is like super hard to pull off live and stuff. And the simple melodies in that song, like but the way that repeats throughout is like
Yeah.
really cool. They play the variations, and then
Yeah.
George Duke is singing this like Lydian melody over it, which is really cool. So it's like I
Yeah.
really, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So great album. Really love that one.
Yeah. And I think one of the most proggy things about Frank Zappa is his use of all these different instruments and stuff. Gotta talk about Ruth Underwood on the
Yeah.
on the mallets. Big
Oh
part
yeah.
of Frank Zappa for me, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And his whole band, just
Yeah. Of course. I mean, he surrounded
great.
himself with the best that it
Yeah,
gets.
great players, great backup singers, and just had it all. Okay,
Yeah.
number six. I think this is gonna surprise you. I have a Gentle Giant album at number six, but it's not the self-titled track. It's not Gentle Giant.
Yeah.
It's Octopus.
Oh shit.
So,
All right. Yeah.
uh, listened to this album for the first time this week, and didn't tell you this on purpose because I like wanted to surprise you. I was never like a huge Gentle Giant listener, and I've listened to pretty much every or most of the albums this week, and this was by
Yo.
far my favorite. Uh,
Yeah.
um, I think the first two songs on this album, "The Advent of Panurge," I think that's how you say it. I don't know. That's the first
Yeah. That.
first
Yeah.
song.
It's fucking bro. That song's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it starts off with the vocals and the guitar, which is like doing some really cool stuff, and then it just gets into this like whole jam, which is like really like funky, and I think that's like one of the coolest parts about it. It's like very groovy and just like a
Yeah.
sick thing. And then the second song is really cool and pretty like vocally it's super cool. Has
Yeah.
some cool harmonies going on.
Really
And
cool.
then there are some songs with heavier riffs, like A Cry for Everyone. It's a bit of a heavier riff. And
Yeah.
then
I love Dots. That song's great.
The Boys in the Band is one of my favorites here because it's an instrumental and it's just like
Yeah.
jam packed with like insane riffs, super
Yeah.
fast stuff.
Fucking.
The whole Gentle Giant thing, like trading riffs
Yeah.
uh super
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
And then Think of Me with Kindness is just like a beautiful song towards the end, super pretty.
Yeah.
This is the newest one on the list for me by far. Super new find for me, but I'm in love with this album. So yeah.
Yeah, you just gave me a reality check because I don't know what I'm doing not having that here. I do agree. I think that is their best work because I don't know. That was one of my first. I heard that was my first Gentle Giant album I
Okay.
actually listened to because I had seen a video on TikTok or Instagram or something where people were talking about Prog, and I heard that album's name and I listened to it, and it like was super big for me, and then I just kind of like let it phase out of my rotation. But I do think that like those moments that album defined a lot of Prog listening for me, and that's those first two songs you're talking about are sick.
Yeah.
Boys in the Band, obviously too. That's like insanely musically interesting. I remember I gave it a shot at learning that a while ago by ear when I was younger, and it was not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a super crazy album. I
Yeah.
could definitely sub that in for Gentle Giant self-titled as well, and that would work for me and my list too. I think it's a
Mhm.
great album, though. Really good pick. I'm glad you're getting into their other stuff because they're really cool.
Yeah.
That album, right? All right, so my number six pick. I actually, kind of innovative here. I ended up with a tie. I really like Rush, so I had
Yeah.
to I put two albums that are really kind of equal to me in their catalog that had the same effect.
Mhm.
I went with Hemispheres and or also 2122.
Yeah.
I think that these albums are great. I think that, 2122, the song, with all its different parts and different things,
Mhm.
is really insane and like, probably their most epic work as a band. They have a lot of shorter songs that are more like condensable into, poppier rock type tracks, but they don't stretch into that yes kind of territory where they're
Yeah.
dividing things in these huge parts and making it really interesting. I think when they do
Mhm.
that on 2122 and
Dude,
also
I
on
think you're
Hemispheres,
getting confused with Geese, bro.
uh,
It's 2112.
I'm bugging. I actually fucking 2122. This is actually OD. Wait,
You're good. You're
I'm going crazy. Oh, it's 11 in the middle. Wait, you're actually so correct.
good. Dude, it's the
It's
Geese song, bro.
insane. Yeah, it's the song. I always thought it was named like the same thing.
No, no.
Like I always thought it was just named like after the Rush album. That was 21 Pages. This is actually insane. The worst thing I've ever done.
Okay. No,
Fuck. All
you're good.
right.
You're good.
No, we good. We good. Anyway, 2112. I don't know what I'm doing, but Yeah, Pastor Bangkok is insane. I love that song. My mom actually showed me the song "Something for Nothing" a while ago, and I was like playing Rush in the car. She's like, "Can you play Something for Nothing?" I was like, "Why?" Like this like random like niche track off 2112,
Yeah.
22. But yeah, yeah. I think it's a great album. And then Hemispheres, I think I might like a little more, mainly just because of Villa Strangado. I think that's maybe their best song. I learned it
Yeah.
on guitar a while ago to play live, and it's just like fucking not all the parts. The first solo, second solo are both really really cool. The
Mhm.
changes are really like musical and like sometimes it feels random, like they're playing really weird intervals of chords back to back and then like changing things around, and it's like it's super sick. So I really
Yeah.
love Hemispheres. Also like Cygnus X1, they like divide that song among three albums, so it's
Yeah.
like book one, book two, book three. So
Hmm.
I think that shit is insane. It's another kind of like moment where they get more epic with it,
Yeah.
more yes adjacent. But I think that the stuff that those three guys can do together is unmatched. I think Alex Lifeson is super rated coming from a guitarist, to another guitarist. But all the guys in that band shine.
Yeah. Yeah. Great
Yeah.
picks.
Brutal
Number five.
blunder there.
What do you
21,
say?
22. I said
Yeah.
brutal blunder there. 22.
21, 22.
Bro, I'm
Shout out,
actually
shout out Cameron Winter.
shout out.
All
Shout out
right.
D's. Sam
We're gonna
Badass.
go with next number five. Uh, Selling England by the Pound. Genesis. Had to
Yeah.
have this in here. Absolutely had
Yeah.
to. This is an essential Prog album. Um, Opens up with Dancing with the Moonlit Night, which is a song I've gotten to play before. Uh, Masterpiece, super cool. There's the quietish intro, and then it comes in with that like groovy guitar riff that you recognize, and it has all the different sections, and then fades out at the end with that little like Peter Gabriel flute outro. Peter Gabriel
Yeah.
on flute, shout
Sick.
out. Uh,
Yeah. Yep.
and then it has songs like Twerk the Fifth is just one of my favorite songs ever. Like I just love that song. I think it's a perfect song. And then, Battle of Epping Forest, The Cinema Show, all amazing tracks. And I think this is a perfect album to me.
Yeah.
There's not a
I
song I don't like on this album.
um you're gonna hear more from me about Genesis soon, so that's just a
Yeah,
preview as we enter the top five. But
yeah.
I'm gonna go with at my five spot, we're going with the Yes album here. We got the
Nice.
vinyl.
Nice.
Great record. I think that it opens the world. It opens the door into the world of Yes, and I think that they couldn't have really like gotten they delved. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with their first two albums that came before this, but they really got into their prog bag with this album and kind of explored new sounds. And I think that there's not really a miss on this album. I mean,
Yeah.
the clap is that's a really unique track. It's just like acoustic shit, but
Mhm.
it's cool. I really like what they do on that song too. So I think that there's not really a miss on this album, and that it's pretty perfect all around.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, dude, we got 10 minutes left. 10
yeah.
minutes.
Shoot,
Okay.
clock's
All
running.
right. For number four for me, this one is a prog album from a non-prog band. Uh, this is Crime of the Century by Supertramp. Um, this
Oh
band
yeah.
is super, super, known for their poppy, their like pop type stuff, kind of some like more like arena rock kind of things, like Give a Little Bit, all that stuff. And then they have all the pop stuff like Logical Song and Goodbye Stranger. But this album is completely prog. Uh, has one of my favorite songs ever on it, Bloody Well Right. I just absolutely adore that song. And the title track is incredible, along with some of the other songs like School and Dreamer and Rudy. I love all those songs. So yeah.
Yeah, that album I have to admit I haven't really listened to in full, which is embarrassing of me. But
Yeah.
I think it's great. All the songs I've heard from that album are great. I mean, Supertramp, great band all around. I think that the way that they delved into more prog ideas of that album, of what I've heard of it, it's really
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, I completely agree about Bloody Well Right, great song.
Yeah.
Something that I definitely I'd heard before, but once I started talking about music more, I knew it was one of your favorite songs, and hearing it like again from that new context really changed it for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really great take. I think that's a really definitely a cool take
Yeah.
for this the
Yeah.
list, and I think that's a good place for it to be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my number four pick, gonna have to go with Trilogy by ELP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with this album. It's fucking nuts in every way. The title track is great. I think everything, every song has a moment here, and this is, I think, besides, what's it called? Moments on Brain Salad Surgery, where
Yeah.
the keys really shine. I think that this is another moment where Keith Emerson really gets into his bag and,
Mhm.
does some crazy shit. I
Yeah.
think that, the guitar parts and everything are really cool here, stuff you don't really expect from a band that's centered around bass, keys, and drums.
Yeah.
But,
Greg Lake is a
um,
great guitar player too.
He is, yeah, he's great. So really cool
Mhm.
what he does there. Both instruments.
Yeah,
The drums are like fucking great throughout all of it.
yeah,
And I just think that it's really cohesive as a project and something that I can listen to at any time, and it'll get
yeah,
me in the prog vibe and mood.
yeah. Gonna move on for sake of time. We got 7.5 minutes left, so
Yeah,
gotta lock in.
clock is ticking.
My
Yeah, all right.
third. This one you're gonna be surprised it's not higher. Number three I have Close to the Edge.
Yeah,
Yes, this is Yes's best album in my opinion. Perfect 3 song run. That's actually like 20 songs because like each song is like all these parts and it's just like
yeah,
um no other band would have made this into 3 songs, but it is, and it's perfect all around. Uh, the way it starts out, um, and it builds into all these different cool little songs, melodies, and it has, all these cool like acoustic guitar parts, utilizing all kinds of different keyboards, pipe organs, and then it has, like goes from like more rocky in Close to the Edge than to like a quiet section, and then, it gets like kind of funky in Siberian Khatru and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, love that album.
yeah. I think the sonic diversity on that album is like really profound what they go into there, and like
Yeah,
it makes it even more emotional. Like it really checks every box emotionally, and you can feel,
yeah,
these like beautiful moments that are just like so musically interesting in like all these harmonies and different interweaving parts that are awesome. Then you hear these funk parts that are really sick and heavy riffs, and
yeah,
how it progresses and changes. The start of Close to the Edge with all the insane like synth guitar keyboard ripping stuff. All
yeah,
that is like really cool and like the overlapping ideas. So I mean, it really checks every box that an album that a prog album should.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Hmm.
Yeah, answering my top three, I'm going with an album that I feel like on some days is actually at my number one spot based off how much I listened to it.
Hmm.
It's an album my close friend George Hofstein showed me. It's a really great product showcase, and I think that it's this artist's best work, this band's best work.
Yeah.
Selling England by the Time by Genesis.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was never a big pop Genesis fan. I still like their stuff, but I think that Peter Great Gabriel was like a huge part of their sound, and
Yeah. Yeah.
without him, things changed a lot. Obviously,
Yeah.
no disrespect to the other members of the band, but I do think that he made the band for me in those first
Yeah.
early '70s years and stuff. And even like if you listen to their first album, it's like folk stuff with a lot of flute, and it's like it's really
Yeah.
cool to hear how that comes back later on. With the stuff
Yeah.
like at say the end of Dancing with the Moonlit Night, there's flute stuff. But I think every track on this album hits. I mean, I can run through all of it, like Dancing with the Moonlit Night.
I lost you, bro. Yo, Owen, bro.
Have been like a song that was written a couple years ago. Like it was something really unique that feels out of the time period that an album like this would come out in.
Mm.
I mean, for the sake of time, I can rush through it. But Battle of Epping Forest, Scalding Hot Take, I think this is one of the band's best songs. People hate it because of how eclectic it is and how many different parts are going
Yeah.
on. But yeah, everything that song does is sick. I could sing that send solo note for note. Like everything
Yeah.
about that song, is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, more Fool Me. People don't like that song because it's just an acoustic like ballad type
Yeah.
thing. But I think that it's like a beautiful piece of a showcase of vocals and guitar in that band, and it really
Yeah.
is just like it's on display that's so vulnerable and
Yeah.
fragile in a way, yes, reference
Yeah.
fragile way that makes it beautiful. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, cinema show outro synth solo awesome, a lot of great stuff on that album.
Yeah.
But yeah, second time we'll move on. I can talk forever about that album though.
Yeah. So good. Uh, so number two for me, I have Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull. Uh, Absolutely perfect. I never heard this album until I got it on vinyl from this guy at a show I was at who was selling vinyls at a concert, and I got it, and I expected nothing of it. I'd never listened to Jethro Tull before, never heard the song, because it is just one long song, and it is
Yeah,
the coolest song ever. Absolutely not a moment of anything I would change. Uh, Ian Anderson's flute playing is incredible, and everybody on this album like is performing at the best they can, and it's just a perfect song for me. Yeah,
yeah, definitely, I completely agree with that. Perfect album song. I mean, whichever one you
yeah,
want to classify it as. But it's great. I have the vinyl, so I can't find it for whatever reason. But
yeah,
hearing on vinyl is definitely a really cool experience. Hearing the whole thing,
Yeah.
it's really cool. But yeah, agreed. All right. My second pick, something you mentioned before, "Close to the Edge" by Yes.
Nice.
I mean, our best album for everything you said before. I mean, I don't think there's nothing. I don't think there's anything left for me to say about
Yeah.
it because I've praised it so highly in the past. I think that it's really great throughout. There's no weak moment on this. Touches every note that you want to hear on an album. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
completely agree with that. It's at my number two.
Nice.
All right,
Okay.
number one territory. This is
Let's
the
go for
big
the
one.
ones.
Yeah,
My number one Prog album is Trilogy by Emerson Lake and Palmer.
yeah,
Um, I absolutely adore this album. Uh, it starts off with Endless Enigma parts one and two, which I think, there's the few in between it, which is just Keith Emerson playing piano, which I can't complain. It's like a super beautiful piece. But Endless Enigma Part One and Two, uh, start out with the sick, organ and piano parts, and then come into Greg Lake vocals, which I think are super sick, and they all like build until the end of Part Two. And it just gets like super energetic, and it's an amazing song. And then it goes into From the Beginning, which is just like sick acoustic guitar work, um,
yeah.
and
Shout out
and
Greg Lake.
vocals. I love that song.
Yeah,
And then The Sheriff, that's a great song. Uh, Absolutely love it. Super cool melody and main riff. And then Hoedown, I think is my second favorite song on this album.
yeah,
Just like a super
sick.
sick organ parts and parts. Then
Yeah,
Trilogy is my favorite progressive rock song of all time. Uh, Super hot take, but I absolutely love that song. It's so pretty in the beginning, amazing piano playing, and then it goes into this like heavy synth solo, and then
yeah.
Livingston's all right. Abaddon's Bolero is amazing. So yeah, that's all I got to say about it. And then yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, from a keyboard player, I definitely like
yeah,
from you, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
It's perfect throughout.
yeah,
My number one album you just mentioned, "Thick as a Brick" by Jethro Tull. I
yeah,
mean, what a fucking journey that is.
yeah.
I'd really like to shout out, one of the calmest parts in that song is the, intro acoustic part.
Yeah.
The whole really line actually just went out. I
So
really
good.
appreciate the lyrics there. It's like you pointed this out to me one of the first times I was listening to it, stuff like your sperm's in the gutter, but your love's in the sink,
Yeah,
like stuff where you wouldn't really expect
a little
Prog.
comedy in there. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely comedy and a big part of it. But everything else about it, that song's perfect in every way. I could go on forever,
yeah,
but for the
yeah.
sake of time,
All
yeah,
right, great.
yeah, great. So that's our list. That is
Yeah,
our top 10 Prog albums of all time.
yeah.